The human mind insists that God must be somewhere beyond, as if the sacred source of existence were hidden behind the world, in a space that is not accessible to the limited human. You think of God as an external agent, as something infinite, omnipresent and powerful, yet somehow separate from you. All your attempts to reach God are based on that sense of separation. But what if there is another route to know the divine source, which is not looking to the sky or to external signs in the world? Consider how you know anything at all. You only know what is up, in contrast to what is down. You know what is right, in contrast to what is left. You know what is big, in contrast to what is small. You know what is light, in contrast to what is dark. You know what is familiar, in contrast to what is strange. Everything is known in contrast to its opposite. So in order to know the unlimited, the totality, the source, God, you must know how limitation works. And the first limitation is your own individuality, which is separate from the whole. When you understand the limited, the individual, the fragment that you are, then that which has no limits will reveal itself by contrast. Let's make this exploration together. How does the sense of limited individuality arise? The mind organizes experience by drawing boundaries. It draws a line that separates this is me from this is not me. Without this boundary, there is no sense of being an individual that is separate from the whole universe. That mechanism of separation in the mind helps you survive and navigate the world, yet it also creates a rigid identity that feels isolated. What you call me is usually a cluster of repeated thoughts, emotions and patterns that, over time, seem like a solid story, even though that solidity is more apparent than real. When you look more closely, you notice that the mind functions like a filter. It selects a few fragments of reality to use as reference points and discards the rest. The separation between what is you and what is not you creates a sense of familiarity that stands in contrast to an unknown world. This boundary makes the ordinary seem safe and predictable, while everything outside it appears mysterious and alienated. What you call mundane is simply the part of existence you have grown accustomed to, and what you call unknown and mysterious is the same existence seen without the filters of habit and identity. From here, the mind clings to the familiar and constructs a narrative where you are the central character, and the idea of the divine is pushed into the category of the unknown and mysterious. That distance is drawn by the mind. It is the result of viewing life through a very narrow lens, as if you were watching the world through a limited point of view. But the universe is a living miracle. By clinging to your sense of limited individuality, you stop seeing the ineffable mystery of existence. You mistake being alive in this infinite universe for something ordinary and familiar, when in fact it is a miracle in itself. If the sense of separation is created by the mind, how can you reconnect with the whole? In reality, awareness or consciousness is the most fundamental aspect of your experience, and then comes the mind with its divisions, in which the individual entity and the external world appear as separate things. The experience of separation stays alive because the mind automatically identifies and believes in what it thinks and feels. But when you observe your inner processes without getting lost in them, something different becomes clear. You see that thoughts change, emotions rise and fall, perceptions shift. All the inner states are constantly moving. Yet the part of you that is aware of this movement remains still. You realize that motion can only be perceived in contrast with an unmoving background. Your awareness is the necessary background space in which the inner states of mind and emotion can move and display. That spacious background of awareness does not take part in the story. It is the very light that illuminates the story and the space that holds it together. It is the consciousness in which every experience comes and goes. In that inner space, a genuine sense of connection with the totality begins to appear. Why is there individual consciousness in an infinite universe? To experience anything, there must be a specific point of view. You recognize the color blue only because it differs from red or green. You hear a sound because it stands apart from silence or from other tones. Every sense works through contrast. Without limits, nothing becomes distinguishable. In the same way, the infinite source cannot know itself from its own boundlessness, because an unlimited field has no edges, no contrasts, no other through which to perceive itself. Awareness appears in a human organism precisely because its sensory channels are narrow enough to create defined experiences. This limited perspective allows the infinite potential of the source to explore its own possibilities from the inside, as if the universe needed a small window in order to perceive its own colors, textures, and movements. Your consciousness is not separate from the whole. It is the lens through which the whole becomes knowable. From this wider view, the idea of God or the source stops appearing as a distant entity. Rather, it is the entire field in which your individual identity and the experience of the world appears. What happens when you stop assuming that the source is somewhere else? The capacity to be aware already opens a direct window into the nature of the source. Consciousness does not merely witness your experience. It reveals the field in which all form, thought, sensation, and identity appear. If you look deeply, you notice that the same light that makes your inner world visible also points beyond the limits of the personal self. This is why the door to God cannot be outside you. It exists in the very awareness through which you observe everything else. The awareness that allows you to perceive your experience is the same divine light from which all existence arises. This is the light of God. Merging with the source is not an exhausting effort or a reward granted to those who purify themselves. It is a recognition of your true nature. You do not need to reach a special state, undo your blockages, or become someone different. You only need to see your inner space more clearly and deeply in the present moment. Then you can see that both the thought, "I am separate," and the thought, "I am close to God," appear within your consciousness. You recognize that you are not the shifting content of experience, but the space in which that content unfolds. The moment you stop blindly believing the story of separation, the distance collapses. A simple, deeper understanding emerges. Your individual consciousness relates to the source in the same way that a wave relates to the whole ocean, distinct in appearance, yet inseparable from it. They were never divided. You were simply looking from an angle that was too narrow. When that angle opens, you do not unite with the source. You remember that you never left. Subscribe to the Intronaut channel to go deeper into the mind, emotions, and reality. Leave a like if this resonated with you. Until the next video.